Hi.
Hello, everyone.
I see Margie's already in here. Howdy,
Yeah.
howdy, Mark. Or
All
Mark,
right.
I saw your name
Oh,
come
yeah,
up.
it popped up. I
Hi,
just I could
Margie.
send her a quick message.
I know
So.
it's you, Margie. Margie's sitting right here next to me. So,
Yeah.
how's everybody doing?
Yeah.
We really missed
It
everybody.
seems like forever
It really
since we've
does.
been alive.
It
So
feels like it's been a million years. We've really
honestly,
missed you
it
guys.
has been forever. So
Yeah, I didn't realize like how much I really look forward to these lives and how they kind of pick me up like halfway through my week. So I found that very interesting. Means I
made
need to
it
make
hard to
sure
tell which day of the week it was because
it
it became
did.
such a
Our
routine.
week, we're like, it's what day is it? Because this is such like a trademark, like right in the middle of our week.
Mm-hmm.
So Margie wants to know how you're feeling.
Yep, we missed you as well, Margie. So I'm feeling better. I'm a little hoarse, if you can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pretty yucky cold that came through. Actually, there was
Yeah.
like some muscle aches with it, but
Yeah, it
all
was
is
a
good
little
now.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ashley got it shortly after me. My sinuses are still acting up a bit, so.
of course.
But other than that, it's been good. And honestly, I'd get sick when the weather goes up and down. Usually the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So we had like a very warm Saturday.
Yeah.
Not this Saturday.
And of course, we tried to kill ourselves out of it. I mean, we never, when the weather's warm like this after spring, those first couple of days, like it is gangbusters. We could wear t-shirts. We were out in short sleeve shirts. It felt so amazing. But then, of course, now through this week, we've been getting lows like in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
It gets up to
Set
high
up in our
40s,
cold spot.
almost 50, but it's not no 70, like 2 or 3 like it was Saturday and Sunday. So looks like we'll be there about this time next week. We'll be back in those temperatures, but we're in that roller coaster approach to spring. But when those days come around, like we work from the moment we're awake and moving to like so we can't move, and it shows like during the weekdays when we go back to work, we're like, I am so happy to sit in an office chair and to be still.
And there's Emma. Hola,
hello, Emma.
Hello,
Betty.
Betty.
I
Good
missed
to
you
see
guys. We really have missed you guys.
Yeah.
It's been kind of crazy.
Margie said we had a few gorgeous days, and today snow and Saturday,
what?
8 to 10 more inches.
We're supposed to get really cold on Saturday too. Of course, goats are getting ready to have babies.
And it's unfortunate because got like wild hairs here. So on Saturday, our local park to us, Houston Woods, they have a maple syrup festival. We've been to it the past few years. It's sort of neat. They have last year, I think, or a year before, I think it was.
It's been 2 years since they had it, like in 2020, right before.
Yeah, when we did
COVID. We got there like that weekend, and the next weekend they shut it all down. They're like, we're not letting anybody in. They didn't have it last year, I don't think.
It's neat because they take you through a walk through the woods, and you can actually see they have the old buckets with taps on the trees, and then you can look in there and see the syrup dripping out right there. And then they take you down to the bottom, and they have an old syrup shack, which has where it's boiling the syrup and basically thickening
it. Gives you like the guides that are on the tour give you great information like about all the different trees.
Very knowledgeable.
Talked about how we came about the Native Americans making sap, and it's just kind of funny. He's like, you gotta wonder like maybe they put their hand like on the tree and the sap came out, and they're like, I wonder what I could do with this, and from there we got maple syrup. So it's actually pretty interesting. We really enjoyed it the last time we went.
They have a big pancake
breakfast
up in the lodge.
Draws a lot of attention. It's all you can eat, so of course it draws a lot. Hi, Isaac. I'm glad to see you, bud. How are your babies doing?
Yeah, I was going to say, Isaac had, what was that? So twins, right? Over the weekend. So twin ghosts. But
was it Monday? Yep. I think it was Monday.
Yep. Ashley got to see him already, which got her a major itch for baby ghosts now.
It's killing me.
It was funny, Isaac, when you guys reached out to her. She's actually setting up her.
I was setting up my kidding stall, so I was like, I wonder what April's calling about, and sure enough, you guys are having babies. So I'm really glad that you had Harmony did it just fine. So I know Honey's next up to bat, which is exciting.
Yeah. And probably on the heels, right?
Yeah.
They're pretty close.
Oh, yeah. I'd say
so.
It sounds like they're pretty close.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Honey to have her kids, but Harmony's are doing great.
That's so good.
That's a relief. Yeah.
But then you're on pins and needles because you can start to see all those signs in them, and it just sucks because every doe is different. So even though they've got all the signs, you're like, they've got to be doing it soon. And they are so sneaky. Mine always wait to kid until cold weather, like Saturday when it's going to be bitterly cold, or they're going to wait until I have some place to be like Monday when we have a 4-H meeting. So I'm like, so either Saturday or Mondays when I'm getting kids to hit the ground, which Monday's the actual first due date for our kidding season to start. So we're really, really excited. Really excited.
Hello, where to begin?
Hello, where to begin? How's everything going down in the Bluegrass State? You guys having any nicer weather than we are? You guys any warmer than we are?
Braxton says, hey, I'm here. My first video went up and it was an adventure. It took me a week to edit and figure out how to do it. There's a learning curve to it. I know Ashley struggled with that.
It gets easier.
And then she had some issues because she tried a couple different platforms to see which one suited her best.
Yeah.
So I know she had to spend some time learning all the ins and outs of it. But you got a pretty good grasp now, I do.
I'm almost too comfortable where I'd like to actually move up in some editing software. But I've gotten so comfortable with what I'm doing and proficient. But then I will say, like, I use Filmmaker Pro, and sometimes, like, on my iPad, it just gets bogged down because an iPad is, like, probably not the best thing to be editing on, but it can work.
Yeah.
But, like, I found my videos sometimes, like, if I do a ton of editing on stuff, like, it really, like, have to get out of the app a couple times and back in for it to, like, play through. So it's been kind of crazy. But I'm glad to hear that. Good for you. It does get easier, and it's a whole lot of fun. Just make sure you enjoy it.
Yep.
Do it for fun, and you can't go wrong.
Yep.
So Emma says, we're supposed to get snow tomorrow into Friday. Oh, I'm sorry.
You passed them up. Yeah.
I'm a little out of practice.
We're, I think, getting it Saturday. So it's probably coming from you, Emma.
Well, it actually snowed this morning here. Like, I came in from feeding the animals, and it was starting to snow, and I sat down, and I went to go work at the computer because I get up and work a little bit earlier than him because I like to have longer daylight at the end of the day. Yeah. And like opened up the window. I'm like, guess what it's doing outside? He's like not even awake. He's like, snowing? Yep. It was snowing. Yeah.
Emma said, what software are you hoping to switch to?
I would like to switch to Premiere Pro. I think, is that what it's called? Adobe Premiere Pro. I think that's what I want to move to. I don't know. What do you use, Emma? Because like I'm kind of a dummy when it comes to editing software, and Filmmaker Pro has just been really easy to use, and it's got a friendly app on the iPad. And honestly, they keep making upgrades where I'm like, I could do this. I could use this forever and it would be fine. But sometimes I wonder, it's probably not my iPad. I probably actually need like an actual upgraded laptop. Yeah. But that's on the docket at some point. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I've been a little bit, how would you say, just not my normal self, like when it comes to getting videos up. Like I've been kind of like in that rut. And I think it's because we're starting to get really busy around here. So I could film from morning until night. It's finding the time to sit down to edit. So
Braxton was asking, would you edit with
the Filmmaker Pro? Yep. It's just an app that I have on. You can have it on your iPhone or, iPad or whatever a mobile device that you're using. I edited on my phone for like the first 3 to 4 months of my channel. And finally he was like, I'm buying an iPad for you. So it helped a lot.
Where to begin said, cold and expecting snow this weekend. Was going to go away for our anniversary, but the snow and expected does are preventing that.
I'm telling you what.
Expected does definitely keep you around
They
the
know. I swear they do. They're like, oh, they must. Mine will wait until like Sunday morning, and they're like, you know what? She looks like she might have church clothes on. Like it's time to go now. It has happened a couple times. I hate missing church, but like I will definitely miss to make sure that the does are doing okay. My biggest fear is for them to have an issue and me not be here and then lose the whole shebang. You can lose a doe if you're not on top of it. So I totally understand that where to begin. Kind of sucks. Livestock can be a little bit of a hindrance, but they are totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Braxton said, we'll get snow here Monday in Oklahoma. I hate this weather. First due date.
Ours too. Ours too. So, Tiana, our little blue-eyed doe, is the first one up, and then Willow. And I'm really looking forward to Willow.
Quick. And then once it hits, we're going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, we're going to be really busy. And I think that's why I'm like trying to get through like this rut that I'm in when it comes to YouTube. Just like overall, like how I feel towards it. Yeah. So sometimes kidding is good though, because it pulls me away. Usually summer and spring will pull me off of YouTube a little bit because there's just so much going on here. And then I come back refreshed because I have a whole bunch to talk about and a whole lot to film. But right now I'm just kind of like in an emotional rut with YouTube.
Yep. Emma said that's what she uses and got to see the new toy over the weekend. Can't wait to share that story.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't wait.
So everybody keep your eyes peeled. Emma has a new toy.
She's got new toys. They're always fun videos when you get to see, look what I've got.
And I think from what you've said, I mean, I'm gonna keep it vague, so and we can share it, but it sounds like there's cool history behind it too that Emma has to share.
Cool history.
Yep.
Very much so.
Where to Begin said, yeah, these are the first fresheners, so we'll all be eyes on them. Yeah.
I know.
You want to be there for those. Because you don't know their tendencies.
I have 2 first timers.
Yes.
2 first timers, like one smack in the middle and one at the very, very end. So I'm like, so I saved like the one to stress out about towards the end.
Because actually, one thing she's been big on is she's honestly has a good memory, so she memorizes a lot. But she has written notes before on tendencies of does, which helps
phases of the moon
significantly,
what their signs were,
and even like little things like how they took care of their babies. I know you've kept.
I do. I try to keep really good notes,
whether it's mental or written down.
Very much so.
But we have some first timers that will have honestly sort of like a rough introduction to their baby, and then the next year it's a complete turnaround.
They're totally fine.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge, but for first time fresheners, definitely recommend trying to be there just to see how.
Because you never know. I'm just like, if you got one big single buckling in there, am I going to have to help you? That's my big thing too.
Sometimes getting them out of that sack so they can breathe the right way. Because some of the first time
mommies just don't get it, where they're not like, what do I do now? So I found it's really good. But we have had some kids that the moms want nothing to do with it, but the kids are so persistent. Yeah. Like they're so lively and they like run after their mothers. Where I'm like, they're doing most of the work for me, which is good, which is good.
Braxton said we leave for next week for Texas for the weekend.
Yay!
And I have a huge feeling about it. I'm grateful for my family that's helping me watch these girls.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm
at
so
least you got them left
for
in
you.
sure hands
yes.
there.
And you used Filmora Go, and it was so easy to edit on. I've heard really good things about it. I tried Filmora after I was really like in love with Filmmaker, and I did like the free trial, and I'm like, I don't like. But I think it really does depend like on what you start on. So if you're good with that, keep going with it.
There's a bunch of programs out there, and people have their likes. So if that, I will say, if you liked it and felt comfortable with it, keep rolling
go for
with
it. Yeah, because you're only going to get better as it goes on. It can feel a little clunky. You're in there your first couple times editing a video.
There's Stephanie McKee, fellow
Hoosier. Hello. What's up, girl?
How are you enjoying these nice Indiana weather swings up and down? I know we're almost to spring, but not yet. So
it's been kind of crazy. The weather's killing me though. The tease is, I love a good tease, but not like this. Not 70 some degrees one weekend, and then the next weekend like lows in the teens, and then highs like at 31. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. This is ridiculous.
Those coveralls
I didn't put them away yet. I really thought about it on Saturday. I'm like, I don't need these. I'm like, it is the beginning of March. You're probably still going to need these until about May. So
for sure.
And Emma says, if you do switch to Premiere Pro, there will definitely be a learning curve, and you'll need a good machine to run it. I really like it and feel like I barely scratched the surface. See, that's what I'm worried about, because like I don't have a really good machine to run it off of.
Not yet.
So I don't know. And we've got some bigger purchases that we need a new truck. We need a new truck.
Yeah.
We need a new truck.
Rusty is
we need a new truck.
Getting rustier, and
we need a new truck like
basically the AC pump, the pulley's coming off the front. So I've got to replace that, and I hate working on mechanical stuff in the cold. As I get older, my knuckles don't work as well. So that's something we need to replace. It did work to get straw this weekend for bedding, but I'm not
just took it out yesterday.
Comfortable taking it on long trips. But that's definitely in the docket. Fingers crossed prices would come down on trucks, but it looks like everything is just continuing to go up. I don't know about you guys, but we were just out to pick up my daughter this afternoon, and gas prices here broke $4.
$4. $4.09, which I'm like, great, we need a truck. Gas is skyrocketing. But like, we really do need a reliable truck. I mean, we need it.
A heavy tool.
It is one of those things where I'm like, we need to have it.
So.
We have the truck that runs, but like he said, it's just got some issues, and as they get older, they have more and more issues, which we don't mind working on it.
80,000 miles, and I've redone the brakes on it, so it's just one of those things where I'm getting tired of working on it and waiting for things to sort of break while we're stuck.
And I don't even care like about working on it here. We're really busy, number one, so like we don't have a lot of time to stop and work on a truck. But most of the times when problems rear their heads, it's like when you are getting ready to use the truck, or you're in the middle of a trip, and it's like this is just however it can inconvenience you is how it's going to inconvenience you.
For sure.
So Where to Begin says notes are good. I have wrote books on does before. Our first doe is a bottle baby, so I worry about her for sure. She is 4 years old. That's how nervous I have been with her. Wow. Yeah. I would watch her. I would watch her. 4 years at a first timer is kind of.
That's the funny thing too. Like ultimately, the best experience they have is from
their mom.
freshenings or the kidding. Because your first set of does you brought in with Nigerians, they were older when they birthed.
They were older. They were all 3 or 4 years
results.
old. Yeah. And honestly, at first I thought it was them. I thought they were the problem. They weren't getting bred really. The buck that I had purchased was shooting blanks. And it took me about a year to figure it out, to get another buck in and to try another buck. And they all took the first time. I'm like, okay, so it's not them, it's the buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had some mixed results with them. Even though they were older does, doesn't mean they know how to take care of a baby.
Yeah. I have one, she religiously has given me quads every single freshening, but she gets overwhelmed and that last baby's always in the sack.
I do appreciate though, she's like nervous, but concerned with how the doe, birthing wise, just waiting 4 years, just making sure the doe's ready.
That is good. It's responsible.
I've seen where other side of the things where they breed them so frequent or breed them when they're like really young. And I will say we had a doe Ashley sort of pushed where she felt somewhat comfortable, but still was earlier than we were used to. Mighty Mouse's mom. Yeah. She was pretty tiny.
She was pretty tiny, but she passed her fine.
Yeah.
And she passed all the way. Like, trust me,
Ashley,
even though he's trying to make it out like I'm breeding them as babies, she was almost a year old when she was bred. She was just a smaller framed doe.
I mean, you had concerns with it.
That's why I held off on her.
Yeah. So I totally appreciate it.
I thought you were trying to be like, I'm breeding them young. I'm like, dude, whatever.
We paid too much for them.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, I put way too much money into them.
We don't need rewards that fast.
To kind of chance them breeding too young.
I mean, it's good to take that into account, though.
It is. So it is, because there's some people like, they're 7 months. I'm like, but did they meet the weight? Are their hips wide enough? Are they developed enough?
I was trying to think how to put that. I was like, trying to
put what?
It's like a gray line about our doe. Stephanie said, "I'm over the
was pushing the boundary with me."
I saw your eyes. I'm like,
you may want to tread very lightly.
Stephanie said, "I'm over the cold, ready for spring. I have gardeners to tend to, or gardens to tend to."
Me too.
Yes,
I need to start my seeds, Stephanie. I've been so terrible, but I'm hoping like this weekend with it being so cold, I will only be out in the barn really probably to do minimum and to be checking does to make sure they're not close. But I'm hoping to make my soil blocks this weekend and to get my peppers and tomatoes started.
Yep. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Bruce. Hey, what's up, bud?
We've had some ups and downs with our bees so far. So
it's been a season of loss here lately.
So hopefully your bees are doing well. And you've had a good winter with them. Emma said $4 already. Wow, we were at $3.79 when I came home today.
Yeah, it was $4.09.
Yeah, we had a gas station here that was a little slow in upping their prices for diesel. It was around $3.60 or $3.65, and the place was empty. Somebody posted on Facebook, and they said there was a line, and they cleaned out. Like people were bringing in trucks with the tanks on the back.
There was one, but one of my friends on Facebook was like, "You guys are all idiots. I'm only buying what I need." And I'm like, "Why? So next week it can be $5 a gallon?" I'm like, "Fill up now. You know that the price is like where it's at because it's gonna go up."
It's Rick from Lala Farm.
What's up?
We were both in the video earlier, chatting along with everybody. Chip and Nicole. We met them at HOA. HOA, and we loved spending time with them.
I know, it was super fun.
But we did have a coyote come through the field. Ashley was outside.
I let the dogs out, and it howled like in the backyard. And I'm like, "Get your gun. I'm getting the thermal. We're going out." And we were out there for about 30 minutes. So.
But I don't blame you. You had a long work day. I think you said you worked 11 hours or something.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for stopping in and saying hello. I appreciate that. I know it's tough when you've had a long day.
I don't know how you kept so lively on that video, too.
Yeah, you guys have
after 11 hours of working,
energy.
I'd probably be like...
Don't talk to me.
Yeah, dragging myself through the rest of the night. Margie said regular gas here is $4.49, diesel's $5.25.
Dang.
Wow, that is getting high.
Owie.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Golly, I mean I hate to say it, but I feel like it's still on the rise. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
feel
we're
like
not done. We're only at the beginning of this. So.
And I know, like Ashley's been talking to other homesteaders online and stuff, and you'd mentioned the hay costs. That one guy said.
Yeah, I have one guy that he's a very, very well known Nigerian dwarf breeder, Cade's Little Farm. He does a lot of hay. So he was talking. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he had a post on talking about getting your hay prices locked in with the people that do your hay. he's like, because I'm already looking at my first batch of fertilizer for my field and replacement seed or whatever. And he was just breaking it down. He's like, it's going to be at least $2 extra.
Yeah.
At that was 2 or 3 weeks ago per bale. So he's like, we're going to have to start trying to find creative ways. So I'm looking into tree hay. I'm looking into all of the trees around us with leaves to get them bagged, netted, and hung.
Fortunately, we do have a good stockpile of hay, but still, you never know.
Yeah, but I mean, in here, like $4 a bale is a steal. $4 a bale is a steal. So I'm like, are you going to tell me like for even like the clean grass hay that's not alfalfa or it's not like the really rich hay, I'm going to be paying $6 to $7 a bale just because it's going to take more diesel to run that equipment, and then they're saying the fertilizer.
I don't blame them. The cost is there for them, so they have to sort of
it trickles down. It does trickle down. So we've already been talking a lot. I'm like, how can we creatively feed our animals through the winter next year? Because if it gets really bad, which it very well could, we might have to get really creative. Yeah, we might have to get super creative, super fast.
Rick said we breed around 18 months on the Kikos.
See, Nigerians, it's like 7 months is when you start evaluating.
Yeah, they mature so quick.
They mature super
18 quick. Or Kikos, I mean, that's a good age that they're really filled out by them.
I start looking at 7, and I try to breed. Earliest is 8 to 9 months, and then if they're not there with my regular breeding group, they wait until the next year. The other night we
were talking about your Kikos over there at Lala Farm. Yeah. That was definitely one of the breeds we first was on our list. I mean, it was, I think, pretty much down to Nigerians and Kikos, but with our daughter being smaller and the fact that I told Ashley we could have like 25 Nigerians and it could be all
kinds of colors with blue eyes. I'm like, yes.
They eat so little grass. I mean, really, our donkeys have to be in there to help the pasture stay down.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny though. You think about where you come from, where you start with some of your hobbies. So we started with like they're going to be really colorful and blue eyed, and they're going to be pet quality, and now we're going to the totally opposite end of the spectrum where I'm like, I don't care about blue eyes. I don't care about coloring. I care about conformation and production. And it's just kind of funny, like how our paths go down, like with livestock or things that we choose to do in our homestead or what we choose to get serious with.
Yep. Emma said, girl, no seeds yet. Get on it.
I know.
She's got some seeds here.
Well, this is for the chickens. Yeah. Since we are and this is barley. So this is chicken fodder. I've actually got 3. 4. Yeah, there's 4. This one's ready to go out. But with this avian influenza in our area, I am not letting my chickens out almost at all to free range. Just because I'm afraid if I don't want to think about my chickens expiring to the point where I'm like, I have to get the BOAH, which is Bureau of Animal Health in Indiana to come and look my flock over and test, because if they were to test and it were to be positive, they take every bird on my property and euthanize.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to take my precaution. I can't really do a lot about the ducks.
Yep.
The ducks just free range. I can't net that entire enclosure because it's huge. But the chickens I can kind of keep in. So I try to let them out in the evening hours when songbirds are asleep at night, are starting to roost. So there's not a lot of contact. So that's why I've got that going.
Robo Canner said mine died again this year. Bees, that is.
Oh.
We definitely had some struggles.
So we had 5 hives going in.
We're down to 2.
We're down to 2.
Bruce is going to be like, man, you guys are pathetic.
I know. You guys suck. It's all right, Bruce. I feel like I suck at this. Now, we got in there and broke them down, and 2 was due to moisture. There was mold all in there. I'm like, these guys, because this up and down crap is just not good for the bees. It's just not.
A couple heavy spells of rain. It's been a wet winter.
A very, very wet winter.
So,
but it gets really warm and wet, and then the next day it's like negatives. So I feel like they got moisture in there and froze. The one hive starved. There were 0 stores. The other 2 hives had stores, so I know. And they didn't have a hive count or mites in the bottom board like I thought that they would. Because at first I'm like, I didn't treat anybody except for like 1 hive. Yeah. And the one hive I treated had 0 mites, but they died of starvation. The others didn't die of mites; they died of moisture. They froze to death. So it just kind of sucks.
Rick said supposed to be 31 degrees this Sunday here. That's cold
are you
for you
serious?
Guys.
In Florida?
Yeah, Chip and Nicole are awesome. Which we totally agree with. And hopefully this Sunday will be our last freeze of the year.
I hope so for you, but I know it's not our last.
For all of us.
It's not our last. missed it all.
Yeah. Where to begin? Those mama kidding year is why we haven't had kids for 4 years. Lost her mom and 3 more does that year due to a 13+ pound kid.
That is tough.
It was heartbreaking.
It is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally
Those years are really, really tough. Those are the years where you're like, your heart needs a break. And that's okay. I think it's okay to accommodate your emotions and your heart.
Yeah.
When it comes to breeding and raising livestock, because it can be really taxing.
You want to be in the best emotional state.
Yeah, you really do care a lot for him. I mean, we wouldn't have gone out and stood in the cold back there calling for that coyote to come back, because we heard it, and then we saw it, because he's got a night vision scope on his rifle, and he's like, it's in the backfield. So we went back and heard it howl all the way down the wood line.
Of course, the thing almost like knows which directions we can shoot.
There's houses all around us.
Different directions. There's a couple we can.
I think there's only 2 directions where you could anywhere in that general direction and you're fine. But everywhere else, you really have to stop and think about what's behind the target. Yeah.
Emma said, "Oh yeah, reminds me, I'm posting info about the Zoom thing tonight. Be on the lookout."
Yay! I'm excited because I really need a boost, because I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I need
talking
something.
about the past couple weeks. So she'll be glad to see that. Where to begin? Said Buck was throwing big kids, sold him, lost 7 does and a kids in a week. Oh, that's heartbreaking. The expecting doe is the only one we could save.
No wonder you've been waiting for a long time.
That is a rough spell.
And no wonder you don't want to leave her. Oh my goodness. Well, I will be saying big prayers for you, because we've had those seasons where it's like, it doesn't matter what you do, how healthy they went going into kidding, that there are just some times where it's just the freak accidents happen.
Your heart probably aches just reading that.
It does, because I've been there. Like, there have been seasons where I'm like, is nothing going to live, especially when it's outside of your control.
Definitely.
Michelle Jagger, the only thing you can really do is, for ours, we have like the fruit tree netting, like to keep songbirds out over the top of our run. And then we actually, for the chicken wire, we use like the 1/4 to a 1/2 inch, like the square stuff, mesh, like the hardware cloth. So we don't have to worry about. The only thing I would say for you is maybe it might be cheap at Tractor Supply to get like that fruit tree or like the garden netting and just put it around, and it don't have to be tight, but just enough where there's enough resistance.
You're talking about the plastic cheaper netting, right?
The really cheapo plastic ones, because then sometimes I even roll it back up and I'll lay it over like trees that I need to keep birds off of, or my chickens off of, like garden stuff. So that's what I would recommend. It'd be cheap and it'd be really quick. You could even tie it up with twine on like all the corners. Twine is my duct tape. I use twine on everything. Is why I'm saying you can even use twine.
But it works. So,
and we have a lot of it.
Rick said Lola has fallen in love with the Nigerian dwarf. So there are a lot less strain on the land. It's got us thinking.
That was our number one reason why we switched to it. The boars were really tough on everything, and they were really,
honestly,
really
you've
taxing.
had no regrets in switching.
I've had zero regrets. Now I feel like they're a little bit. They're randier. Yeah. Like those things will get. I mean, I've got does that will get bred looking at a buck. Like not even anywhere close to it will get bred just by looking.
I ain't saying they're the perfect goat for everybody. Of course, they're definitely.
You've got good fencing and you've got a good sense of humor and a little bit of understanding and tolerance to their antics. You're fine. Yeah. Some people will tell you like they will never have many goats. I can understand why. Yeah. Sometimes when they get out of like the neighboring fence, I'm like, I hate goats.
For our situation, though, they worked out
really well. They work really well.
We've been happy with them.
Oh, and Michelle, another thing, maybe like the plastic owls, and sometimes like the pythons, like hung up the shiny stuff, like moving around. Birds don't like that, especially birds of prey don't like that because it impedes with their eyesight and it freaks them out a little bit. That might be something else you could do.
Bruce, that feels better. March is brutal for
That's
bees.
What I've heard. That like most of your hives will die in March, you know. So I feel awful, but at the same time, like I have a wealth of resources now for swarms or for splits because they left me so many stores that I was able to save, and they left me tons of drawn comb, which most of the time I probably have frozen everything. Yeah. I will actually be taking it out tomorrow because it's been 48 hours, and then we'll store it. But for me, I'm like, there's that silver lining, it sucks, but at least I got all the resources to help the next piece. Because before, like, I wasn't even painting my frames with wax. They're just like the plastic frames, the stuff that most bees don't like. So I'm like, well, these bees did all the hard work, so it'll actually set up the future bees in a better, it'll give them a better chance.
Trying to use whatever we can out of it, even though we lost them.
Yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Rick said, I got to run, guys. Got some things I have to finish before bed. Thanks for visiting.
Yeah, thank you for visiting.
Night. Yep. It's good to
have a great night, Rick.
Where to begin? So thank you for the prayers. We're doing every 2-hour barn check.
I start that real soon too.
Yeah.
That really sucks. And everybody's like, just get a camera. And I'm like, I have a metal barn that's 200 yards from my house. Like, not 200 yards. It's not quite that far. It's probably about. It feels like that in the snow.
85 feet.
Is it 85? That's it. No way. Shut up. It's less than 30 yards away from the house.
About 30 yards. Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe I'm wrong. You got me rethinking.
Well, it's a metal barn, so even like the
I know it's not more than 100 feet, but.
Well, and our Wi-Fi is on the opposite end of the house, so like even running something.
Don't forget Starlink, that could change that.
Yeah, Emma, how are you liking Starlink?
Yep.
Make me jealous. Tell me all the wonderful things about Starlink.
Got pushed back to mid-2022.
Yeah, it sucks.
Although I was looking at 5G plans for cellular data, and those have come down a lot. So they're like $50 a month, which is a lot cheaper than what we're paying for our house internet. Thought about doing those because honestly, we could do 2 of those, put one in the barn, and then you could do a camera out there.
Yeah. I would like that, but I'm with you. Where to begin? Like, I've been doing the 2-hour barn checks in kidding season since like we started. So for me, I'm like, this is part of the gig, like this is just what it takes.
I feel like even then they wait till you do the check and then come in and then they start to.
Or they would wait for me to wake up every 2 hours to look at the camera, and then as soon as I went back to bed, that's when they would start. So I'm just kind of
she's checking.
Yeah, well, I figure by the time I walk to the barn, I'm awake. I will spend more time if I walk to the barn watching them than if I just were to roll over awake and look at the camera and then put it back down. Yeah. Like I know I take more notes when
There's been those mornings where, of course, she's exhausted. It was like, okay, I'm going to pass the check. And that's always the time they end up having.
Yeah. That, or if he's
they're not ready. They're, like I can give 4 hours this time.
Yeah. I'm like, she's good. She's nowhere close. And then I come out like 3 hours later. I'm like, are you kidding? Like,
for sure.
Or there'll be times when he has mercy on me and can tell like, I'm dead. I am tired, especially if it's like the 11 or midnight check because he's still awake.
Yeah,
I'm already asleep, and he'll go out, and I can almost guarantee if he's checking, someone's having a baby.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, he comes back and he's like, "You've got one that's pushing." Like, okay.
Snore?
Now that you said it, she stopped.
It was like the loudest.
Our dog snores. Okay, my dog snores so loud, guys. I had a one-on-one Zoom meeting with my manager, and she was talking. And all of a sudden she stops and she's like, "Oh, did I cut you off?" And I realized my dog was snoring incredibly loud underneath my desk. She thought it was me. Thought she'd interrupted me. I'm like, no, that's my dog.
Definitely.
Under my desk snoring away happily while I try to listen.
Yeah, luckily she's
intently to what you're telling
Ashley's
me.
Feet, so she's far enough away, but I have trouble hearing on my call. It's that loud. So Michelle said she'll give that a try. Said, okay, I have some small little pipe hands I can hang up.
Those are just like the quick, like cheapy solutions instead of like ripping down all of your wire and putting up hardware cloth.
Yeah. Now I'm wondering, does moving the feet inside help? Because I know there's scavengers.
No, because if you have a way to get in, the birds will go right in the duck pen. They'll go right in the duck house. Even when I had it closed, they go in through the
chicken coop. They have a little smaller door.
Yeah, they'll still go in.
Okay.
They'll still go if they know, and then once they figure out there's food, they'll just keep going.
I didn't know if that helped at all.
Yeah, all right. Just keep going in. It's really sweet that you're trying to help. I appreciate that.
Throw out solutions, maybe one will stick. Emma said, "Love the Starlink. No looking back."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Cost for Starlink doesn't affect us too much. We bought the dish and stuff, but Matt's work pays our monthly internet bill." Oh, that's good. Really nice. Yeah,
that's really, really good.
Yeah, even the monthly payment bill is smaller than what we pay now. So for us, it'd actually be a little bit reduced cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ashley's like, "How much? Because could that equal a goat?" I'm kidding.
Always how it goes with me.
Good math.
Can it equal
gotta
a
do
goat?
It with every dollar.
Can it equal a
goat? Hello, Joe Mama.
Hello. How are you? How are things in your neck of the woods?
So
I hope you're doing well.
Our quick check, it seems like, for everybody joining the call. How's the weather?
Yeah.
And how much is gas?
Or the next, how's your weather? How much is your gas? And we'll put in the next go to. What did you have for dinner?
There you go. Capture all 3 at once.
We had Chipotle.
Jim Mama's always cooking up something.
She's all everybody in our chat seems like they're such good cookers. But on Wednesdays, Joe goes to her grandma's, to her nana's. So we take that as like our night to eat out and like go get something and kind of just chill a little bit before we go and get her. And it was Chipotle. And then what did I get you? Reese cups. And I got 2 Krispy Kreme donuts.
Definitely not healthy. But
the worst dinner I could have had.
When did you fix that chicken? So we had our own chicken the other day. And Ashley shoved a onion in it and lemon juice. And it was really good. Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Like homegrown chicken, like fresh, fresh,
big difference.
Pasture raised chicken is so much better.
Yeah.
Like it just tastes so much better. Now if we haven't had to get chicken from like the supermarket in forever.
Yeah.
But I know my mom bought some for like our Christmas dinner to do chicken cordon bleu. And I remember grabbing the chicken breast and was like, it is so disgusting because it's slimy because of like the preservatives and everything that's on it.
Yeah.
And it just grossed me out so bad.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It just killed me. I was like,
totally different consistency.
Yeah, it's weird once you kind of get used to that. When you go to the store-bought stuff and you're like, oh, this is awful.
Emma said the weather sucks, gas prices suck. We had American tacos for dinner. She did the checklist, answered all 3 for you.
We are painting a positive picture. Yeah.
First 2 are definite. Yes.
Yeah, Joe Mama says gas was $4.19 yesterday.
Oh wow! So about what Margie was saying.
Yeah, about what Margie said. Supper was homemade chicken and noodle soup, delicious. Scott is home from the hospital, but it's very, very slow. It's a slow.
At least
I'm sorry about that. I'm glad that he is home though.
Yeah,
I'm glad that he is home.
We'll continue praying for him. Yeah, and hope that he has a quick recovery.
Yeah. So I know my cousin was actually in the hospital for a few weeks.
Yeah.
With COVID pneumonia.
Yeah.
And like they really thought that he was going to die.
Yeah.
Like we were kind of just.
They basically had a last chance surgery.
It was a last chance surgery where they actually opened him up and cleaned out his lungs like manually. Yeah. So they're like, this is the last thing we can do for him. If he doesn't come out of it after this, like it's the final. Then you need to be making plans. Yeah. To bury him.
And fortunately,
he came through. He came through, and he's
upward.
He was in a coma for like a month almost with it, and he's awake and talking. So. We've had that going on, like on our side of the family. We've been praying a lot over that, but we've been lucky. Like we've only had like silly little head colds, so it's been awful.
Emma said, hoping we get a snow day tomorrow, so I'll have to drive and use gas. Yeah, when gas prices get that high, we were just talking about that, how it affects your plans as far as going out, you know, for the weekend.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we go to church Sunday. Can we mix another trip in there, whether it be grocery shopping, you know, going out to eat? What can we do to combine trips to save on gas money? Because when it starts getting that high,
you don't want to make multiple trips.
I mean, it affects your monthly bill directly. Like,
I mean, we had a couple of meets we were thinking about going to, and now with gas, I'm like, that's off the table because, well, and especially because you don't know how that's going to trickle down into other things and other costs. I know we've been buying extra feed just in case for some reason, like trucker strikes or, you know, shortages or people wanting to hike up prices because the gas to get it there was way, way more than usual. So it's just a lot more planning. I feel like we already do a lot of planning as homesteaders to try to make sure that we're doing things as efficiently and cost effective as we can. But like things like this just make it to where it's like, I don't know how this is going to affect. I don't know where this is going to put us. Yeah. So it's been a really big concern.
I mean, that cascades across many different things. Like Ashley said, whether it's hay costs, feed costs, I mean, all that is factored into the equation with the homestead. So, I mean, it's a lot of different factors that's going to affect what you spend your money on each month.
Yeah, it's already affecting that. Yeah. Like we're going to definitely go to HOA, but there's just more that we wanted to go to, and now we're just like, I don't know if that's going to be feasible.
Hello, Sam Gloves. Gloves, I should say.
Yeah, Sam Gloves, and he loves gloves.
Gloves. There you go.
Know if you have gloves.
We have some gloves. Yeah. Definitely need gloves when you're baling hay, otherwise your hands get torn up.
Yeah.
Emma said that's great news. Most people don't come back from that. Yeah, he was really at a point where it was
really scary.
50-50.
Well, and he's a little bit older than me. I think he might be like in his 40s or 50s, but like it was scary. Yeah. It was
I know we turned in a prayer request for him at our church Sunday, and it was definitely like a prayer of need for him at that point.
Yeah, where it was like it's either this or nothing, or he's not going to make it. So Yeah, I haven't had one-on-ones interrupted by a snoring dog yet. You don't want to either. It was so embarrassing. She's like, "Oh, did I cut you off?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
You didn't cut me off. It's my dog.
Joe Mama said, I'm only going out maybe once a week to do any running, sometimes every 2 weeks, saving the gas for when we have to drive to Cleveland for doctor's appointments.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
See, that's just so crazy. Yeah. 100%.
I mean, you think about that, you're driving a long distance like that. With gas being that high, it really becomes like, oh my goodness, now we have to factor in that cost of gas and what's it going to impact for everything else that we still have monthly bills for, and everything else is going up.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is one of those
and
things.
it's at one of those points, like I was saying, I don't think gas is peaked. Ashley's buying food or goat feed in bulk. Yeah, because she's like, next time I go, it'll probably be higher.
It'll be a lot higher.
So far, she's been right.
Yeah, every time it's spiked. And well, speaking of that, now we're starting to keep receipts. More like we're trying to make it a practice to keep our receipts for our farm, because I really would like to know, like, what are we putting out and what are we bringing in. But we're also starting to look for like tax purposes.
Yep.
I really want to start doing a lot more with our farm, with the produce, with community interactions. I want to do something a lot more with what we've got, because I feel like it's worth sharing with people, and I also want to get a little bit more out of it. If I'm going to put myself and everything, our finances, his time, my daughter's time, then I feel like we all like that. We all want that, to see a little bit of return, but we're looking at like LLCs or how to tax it, because I would love to have people on site. I would love to grow out pasture-raised chickens, teach them how to process their chickens, send them home with their chickens. I will grow your chicken, I will show you how to process it, and you take the carcasses home, and a fee. So it's something we're really thinking about, but that's also when I'm like, we have so much on our plate already. Why do you want to put more on it?
Sam Gloves asks, what gloves do you have?
All the gloves.
Mechanics. Those are the good ones.
Nitrile.
They work for shooting. They work
leather.
For work around the farm.
Yeah.
They have also, what's special
snow gloves.
Is the little finger pads.
Softball gloves.
Softball gloves. We got one out here. They have the little finger pads, so you can actually use your cell phone. I hate having to take gloves off.
I have archery gloves when we're hunting, so I can actually use my fingertips.
Must be like a glove expert.
Never know.
Joe Mama said, it really makes you think, do I really need that right now?
It does. It really is making us reevaluate. Totally, or like you said, like we're starting to plan out our trips already, where it's like we're not going out unless we need like more than a few things, I wonder
honestly how bad it'll hit tourist season with summer coming up.
It's going to kill it.
And I think that, you think about that whole area has already been pretty hard hit by COVID. Everything was locked down. 2021 was open more, but I feel like they're still in a recovery there. Are you enjoying something?
Yeah.
And then you get high gas prices where people are going to quit driving, to destinations.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to look good for like a lot of hotels, touristy sites.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be taxing on a lot of people. Yeah. And I hope that we've all got the gumption to get through it. Michelle, I'm glad that you appreciate the suggestions. I know it's so tough when the weather's bad, and then you have like this avian influenza stuff that's kind of just, and like as if I didn't need some other biosecurity issue to freak me out on my farm, because we actually just got done biosecurity panel testing all of the goats.
Yeah.
That was super fun.
Yeah.
It cost me a lot of money this year. The costs for the tests went way up.
Yeah.
So, but we're clear on Yoni, CL, CAE, and Q fever.
Yep.
Because I'm wanting to start to push milk for pet quality to be able to sell my milk, which Indiana is just not friendly with anything. I'm finding out Indiana just isn't friendly, like with selling goods, so like homestead wise.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a lot of certifications and stuff, but Q fever is a big one. I probably should have put brucellosis on there too, but I already paid a pretty penny for the test that I did get. I kind of wanted to save on what I could. Hey, David Outdoors, how are you? Dee's Homestead, how are you? How's everybody doing? Yes, I know. I saw.
Joe Mama said, I would love it if someone did something like that with chickens, since I can't have any in the city. What a great idea. Yeah.
I think it would, and I think it would be helpful, especially, I think it would also help people to understand what goes into their food. Yeah. Like I can give them GMO certified feed. I can put them out on the pasture after it's warm enough. I can make sure that they have the happiest, healthiest lives that they can. And I'll show you how to humanely dispatch and process the chickens, because I feel like sometimes that disconnect that people have with their food, they just don't understand the costs. You know, I'm like, well, I can give you the cost of how much the chicken tractor costs. And I can give you the cost of how much the equipment, like the feeders and everything else cost, and how much the bird costs, how much the feed costs, how much my time costs. You know, it's
did break that down for someone. So they told them how much it would cost per pound of chicken meat.
Yeah, and they're like, why is it so expensive?
So they're like, okay, well, then if you want to raise them, I'll give you the list of things you need. And it was way outside what that person realized.
He was like, you have to come every morning and night. And you have to be able to
effort
clean out their water and give them feed and move their tractor and do this and this and this. And they're like, well, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, I'll do it. But this is how much it costs to raise a bird. And they're like, oh, well, then I'll pay the price. I will pay for the carcass. I won't come and take care of the bird. So
David Outdoors says, thank God I make my own biogas right now. It's the prime time to be doing
so you picked a good time to be doing that.
David, he also said, can't stay long after salt roads at 2 a.m.
Well, good luck. Make sure you get enough
Be safe
rest.
out there.
Get some rest before you go out there.
Doing the Lord's work out there.
Yes,
salting those
100%.
roads at 2 a.m. Emma said, with gas so high and HOA already planned, I won't be able to do other trips I wanted to take, like Gulf Coast.
I know, we were really wanting to go to Gulf Coast.
Yeah, that one is.
That was one we're kind of like.
We are probably going to make a last second decision.
It will be last second, and that will be like our flight's really cheap, because I'm not going to drive. Because at this point I'm like, it's going to be cheaper to fly or to do the driving.
Honestly, one we really wanted.
really wanted to go to that.
So, like I said, we're not ready to cross it off the list yet. I run a lot of the financials as far as like the bank accounts and stuff, and I know I've been talking to Ashley, and Ashley's like, hey, can we do she's offered some options, but it's really going to come down to, like Ashley said, if there's some good priced flights, hotels, everything at that time, then I think we'll try to take the opportunity to go. But I think there's
right now it's not
there's a lot of pieces that
there's a lot of things up in the air. I mean,
but that's a part of what happens when things get high like that. Like Joe Mama said, you have to make a decision on what do you really need.
Yeah, you do.
Versus what you
but I feel like and I'm not trying to get like really weird here, but I feel like we as American people, we're not used to doing that. I feel like that's going to try a lot of people. I think that's going to be a huge wake-up call for a lot of people. And I will say that, like, as a homesteader, sometimes I feel like we're going to have the advantage in that situation, because we've learned to be comfortable with discomfort. Getting up and taking care of animals every day isn't the funnest thing. It can be uncomfortable. Planning and growing your own feed and trying to make sure you keep the bugs off and trying to keep your animals healthy and trying to harness the power of your soil and keeping a good water source. We learn to be comfortable with discomfort, and there's just not a lot of people that are used to doing that. I feel like we've got some really hard times ahead of us. Really hard times. I know
they tricked at Emma, but still said, I'm thinking about limited the number of events I go to this year also, but HOA is still on my list. HOA being the biggest one. We know several people that we talk to and have become friends with are going to that. That definitely is a priority because of that. Because honestly, we don't get to see our friends in this community a lot. So
and sometimes you need to have fellowship.
And we bought our tickets. So
we
already have that cost there.
The more that I've been experiencing things lately, within our own niche, that I'm like, I really need to be able to go into fellowship with like-minded people that I can have a face-to-face interaction with, and that we can pull inspiration from one another. Because there are times, like, just sharing on YouTube, you're like, why in the hell do I do this to myself? Like, why do I subject myself to this stuff? But then you go to things like that and you're like, this is why, because there are so many people that want the information, that need the information, that are striving for this lifestyle. And by God, I want to help them. I might not be able to come out to their homestead and help them, kid out a goat. But hopefully if they come and look at one of the videos, they're like, oh, okay, that's how you do that. That helps them with a stressful situation. Or they see humanity, like in a video where it's like, my goat died and it was my fault. This is what I tried to do and it still wasn't good enough. That they're like, you sometimes just shedding humanity on other people and not giving them all the unicorns and rainbow side of it is the best. And the dog is currently underneath my feet snoring again. Dude, why? Go snore under someone else's feet.
Joe Mama said the taste difference is amazing, though. It really is. Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
It really does.
And it's hard to go back. Once you've broken that barrier of growing your own and raising your own, it's hard to go back to store-bought.
It really is.
Like Ashley said, it's slimy.
I'm like, oh, I'm like, why is it so slimy?
And it's funny. It's not just the taste, too. I think it's like preparing it. You see it in a more raw state, and you're like, okay, this
It's just
doesn't look like
odd.
mine. What's the difference?
Well, and then I'm like, it doesn't have like the gristle at the joints and
Yeah.
stuff. Where I'm like, why doesn't it have that?
Yeah.
Like, that's not normal. Well,
It's just the little things, even.
It is, and I'm sure like when we go to butcher our first goat, that we will see that, especially like with deer versus like the steaks and stuff, or even like the store-bought beef, which we haven't bought store-bought beef in years. But I know that there's a difference. I knew there was a difference when we were eating our deer. I'm like, man, beef texture is different than this texture. Like, I know the taste isn't really comparable either. Those meats cook differently and they taste different, but still.
Dave Outdoors said, have a great one, guys. Love watching your live chats. Go hit the like button and thumbs up. Thanks, David, for stopping by. Be safe out there.
Then Michelle says, it is so dangerous. I lost my son-in-law in July from COVID. I am so sorry.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
My condolences. I can't even imagine a loss like that. He was 41, left my daughter and 3 daughters. He had only been discharged from the Navy after 20 years.
Oh,
I am so sorry.
Heartbreaking.
That makes me feel so hard because it just, you understand like how
Honestly,
how fragile life is. Like
age,
it's quick like that.
Right, close to the age of your cousin.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry to hear that, Michelle. My condolences. Prayers to you and your family. I know that's got to be tough.
Yeah.
Dawn, I'm starting to get all emotional.
Dawn, thank you. It's been a couple weeks, but thank you for helping us on we almost made a rash decision on a drone.
We were at Micro Center and Mark's like, let's get it. It's an open box special.
Yeah, and I'm like, but who do we know that can tell us something? She's like, I think Dawn's. I'm like, ask Dawn. So thank you for that.
You were so fast and you made it just like very understandable. So I really, really appreciate that, Dawn. You are fantastic.
Yeah.
My hero at the moment. You saved me some money. So that's really
we were totally like on the fence. We were already buying another toy, so we bought a 3D printer. And we're like, oh, hey, here's a drone too. And it's like, yeah. He definitely put it in perspective. Like, I don't think we want that one.
Yeah.
So
Emma says this is a good way of putting. That's a good way of putting it. We've learned to be comfortable with discomfort.
Yep.
You have to. I mean, who in their right mind, if you want to be super comfortable and just not have to work for anything, this lifestyle ain't for you.
Yeah.
It honestly, I feel like it would crush people that are like that because you get so used to having that comfort with no effort, and then to be able to put all this effort in and still know there could be the one-off rainstorm that takes out everything I've planted this year. There could be the one-off disease that sweeps through my entire herd and kills 80% of them. Yeah. I mean, it just you have to learn to be able to put in all the effort, be uncomfortable, and realize you could totally fail with it.
I hate to say it, Jim Mama's totally right there.
She is. Ashley, I'm gonna get that Presto. That canner that you recommended. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
I do need to look at the stove, the glass top, and see how that's going to go.
It's a necessity now. I believe it is.
It is a necessity. Yeah. If anything, last year I'm like, Jackie's telling me the truth. I need to get this done. And you're right. Like you're 100% right.
A goal we have to go through with this.
And I think you always make it a really good point to tell me that it doesn't have to be things that I've grown, because for some reason that is like in my mind, it has to be things that we've grown or harvested. I could go to a farmer's market or even the grocery store and grab a bunch of things, cook it up, and can it, and we'd be fine.
And I hate to say it. I mean, we've used the excuse before, too. We're expanding our garden. We honestly will probably have more produce.
We're going to have to.
I believe than before.
Yeah.
And we've made excuses in the past. We can sell some of it, which we do, or give it to people in church.
Give it, and sometimes it goes to waste.
We'll
feed it to the
animals that pass it off. But it won't go to waste. But really, like the benefit it could provide us by canning
it's a lot more than what we're putting it towards.
With the cost of things. Yeah, definitely.
You're totally right. So you've been my cheerleader from like day one on this, and I want to tell you, we are going to do it. We are going to do it. I promise.
So we'll have to do videos to keep us honest on it.
Store-bought chicken looks and smells weird. Yes, Emma, it does. Like, and you would never think to like open up a chicken breast like from the store and be like, this smells weird, but think of how many people would think like the fresh chicken is weird because they're so used to it. They're like, oh, this chicken is weird.
We had a guy we used to work with. We sold farm fresh eggs to people, coworkers, and he didn't like brown eggs because he just thought they were gross.
Yeah, or the green eggs from the Easter, like it's rotten. I'm like, no, it's a shell. It's just the bloom of the shell. It's got to be rotten. I'm like, no, try. Like I will crack it open right now. I got him a bowl. I'm like, crack it open. You will be able to tell if it smells. It's going to be
I
rotten.
must have said Don is my go-to
Dude,
about
for
drones.
real, Don is like the man.
Sounds like a good shop name, Don's Drones.
Don,
Yeah.
there you go. There's
There you go.
your next business endeavor.
Michelle said, I think as homesteaders, we are used to working hard to provide for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to store food, can, freeze, dehydrate, know how to make bread,
Yes.
and cook from scratch, sew, and have kids that know how to help.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. It's just, it's a way that it's just, it kind of goes on the resume for it,
yeah.
you know? Yeah, 100%.
Geez, isn't Don's everybody go-to on camera?
Dude, for real.
The answer he gave us definitely makes you realize he's a go-to.
Yeah.
So
it was, and he's always like that on like the homesteader groups too. Like anybody posts anything about what camera or what laptop or what computer, and Don is like on it. And I always know Don's going to give like the most informed information. But I do, Don, I've noticed you have a preference to Sony. I have noticed that.
If it works, I don't blame you. I do like being brand specific.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that way, a lot of it's compatible with each other too. You know.
Yeah, there is a benefit to it for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, I can see why you get to a certain brand.
Yeah.
It works for you, and it's compatible with a lot of other options.
Well, and the way I look at it, if someone's going to cheerlead it that much, it means it's probably done a really good job for them. People don't usually cheerlead things that suck. You know, like you really need to try this camera. It is total garbage. You get nowhere with it, but it's a good price.
Michelle says, I'm an RN, and these things happen. I see these things all the time. It's terrible for families. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And
that's something.
I am so sorry to hear that.
So
seriously,
heartbreaking.
It kills me.
Yeah, Joe Mama said, I can't grow most things. I can't grow most things I can. I don't have room for it. I utilize my local farms in the area, even sales at grocery stores.
Yeah.
Having canned meat on the shelf is so convenient.
Yeah. I think that's what we're going to do a lot with the goat.
Yeah, because I know, like, when we were talking early on, we're like, hey, we have this meat. We have a good sized freezer. We can freeze it. But what's the guarantee there's going to be electric at all times?
I know.
And I think that we had a scare once where the breaker blew in the garage. Fortunately, the temperature in the freezer,
for the most part.
We caught it. There was starting to be a little bit of water leak out the bottom, and Ashley noticed it, and it was a breaker that tripped.
It tripped,
but honestly, I mean, Emma had that issue.
Yeah. She actually had this issue this last weekend with bacon because Matt left the freezer open, right? Because she ended up cooking it, and then she was going to refreeze some of it.
That Matt and that cat. Both Matt and the cat.
Matt and the cat.
They like getting into those freezers, causing problems.
Emma said Don's a Sony and Mac guy. Yeah, he is. And that's okay. Like, I will take it.
I would say both those have reputable names. So
well, I knew that Don really knew what he was talking about, what he was doing, because when I saw him at HOA, he seriously had like 5 cameras, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so professional.
I didn't know Don up front. Ashley talked to him. I'm like, is that a news guy? Like, I didn't know, like, he was like professional photographer.
Yeah, but you did so good on their videos too. So like,
it was awesome. Although I still get a kick out of Ashley, like messing with her, because like you're like, oh, do a quick little intro, and she was not ready for it yet, and she was like, oh, like trying to get through it. So after that, you taught her a lesson, because we had a couple other channels do that, and we had a little spiel ready
like a little 30-second business pitch. Like, this is what we do.
We had some great moments during that.
Little elevator pitch.
HOA event.
Yeah. We learned a lot from there, like, and we came away with a lot of really good friends. We were
talking about that earlier today, hanging out with Emma while we were down there.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were, because we were talking you guys were talking about the gas prices, and I'm like, I really need to go though, because I really want to hang out with everybody again. And some people that weren't there last year, I know are going to be there, like Rick from Lala Farms, Rachel and John from Dusty Goat Homestead.
We're both excited Matt was coming. What she said.
Yes, I'm super excited, and I won't tease him about his beard being bedazzled. I promise. I know some men are very specific about their beards.
Can get a little random.
Once I grab hold of something, and you guys know, you guys have been here long enough. If I grab hold of something like a thread, I'm going to hold on to it.
After hanging out with us for a weekend, Emma's seen that. So Don said, Sony just has the best autofocus and the lightest, smallest camera bodies.
Yeah.
I'm too weak to vlog with Canon. My arm will fall off. That's a good reason. Don't blame me one bit.
Yeah, especially if you don't want to be. I can appreciate people that vlog and use like tripods a lot, but I am like 100% like, I'm gonna hold it here. I try to be steady. I'm not the steadiest, especially when I get animated. I can tell I'm getting animated because my camera goes all over the place. But that's a good point.
A talker with hands. So she has struggles with that.
Yeah, I talk with you. I talk a lot.
Yeah.
I talk a lot.
Like
I
you're
talk constantly.
fidgeting with a tool right now. No, my little keychain bit older.
Why is it not on your keychain? I wouldn't fidget with it if it were on
Because
your
it
keychain.
became bulky and poked me in the butt when I sat down. So I was like, nope. All right. Emma said I'm a Mac person too, but I love my Canon T7i for now. Yep.
Hey Mo, what's
I
up
think
at
my
Crazy Life
sister
Homestead?
uses
How are
Canon
you?
for her photography.
She does.
Yeah.
She does use a Canon.
Nothing
Yeah,
like
I have a Rebel Canon
that.
camera. I actually have two.
A little bit older.
They're a little bit older.
I will say though, just in general, like the quality of even like iPhone cameras have come a long way.
Oh yeah,
I
like
mean,
even
that's
upgrading from
amazing.
like my 7 to this. What is this? An SE? Don't even have a number.
I've seen pictures online
Yeah,
people take
there's a
with just
big
a camera.
difference.
So I'm like, man, it's getting wild.
Yeah.
How much like
Is this bad though? I just discovered portrait mode. Like on
Yeah.
the iPhone, I'm like, this is the bee's
yeah, she's
knees.
lost it.
And everybody's like, you've never used portrait mode? I'm like, no.
And then my sister was, I was like trying to take a picture with her phone and she had the exposure like slowed or something like that. I'm like, what is world? Like I'd click this picture button and it would do some weird fluttering thing. And she's like, oh, I got the exposure set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she does photography
Yes.
on the side. So
She talks about it and I'm like,
yeah, she's.
but she does a
like,
great job, you know.
Probably
a great
like
job.
Don. Like, I'm like, you have
Yeah.
to talk to me like I'm 5, Don, when you talk about it.
That is that news guy. Emma loves that you thought he was a news guy.
He had so many cameras around him.
He was
looked
so
like
professional
Oh
too.
yeah. He was awesome.
He's super professional.
But like, even though he's that way, like I was just joking, he talks to you down to earth.
I know.
About that stuff.
That like a lot of people there, like especially when it's something you're really passionate about, like you do know how to talk to make people understand it, and Don has that gift with.
I would so wish we could have hung out at his place. I know they had a little outing there.
Yeah.
But we had previous plans.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. But we got to hang out with Chip and Nicole and Freedom Homestead and Fermented Homestead and a Good Life Farm. Who else was there? The Aldermans.
Yeah.
The Aldermans were there. It was super fun, and like it's gonna be. I can't wait. I'm getting super excited. I got to get through kidding season and
Crazy
milking
Life
season
Homestead.
first.
Hello. Don't worry about being late.
Yeah, we're just glad you're here.
We're still rolling.
We're still going on.
Joe Mama said you can extend the life of your frozen meat by canning it up when it's getting to the point of having to use it up.
Yeah.
Can it instead, and you've prolonged the life.
See, that's what we need to do.
That's a major benefit.
Yeah, that's what we need to
being able to extend the life of some things,
100%.
just because you don't get because like the deer, you harvest so much at one time. Sometimes it takes some time to get through all of it.
Yeah, it does.
And then we had trouble finding things to do with our roasts, and actually found some Instapot.
I found some Instapot
because honestly, I won't lie, the first roast we tried out of the Instapot.
It wasn't
partly because it was the deer was just
it was
very
a
tough
very
and
ruddy
gamey.
Buck.
Yeah,
it was that 11 point from
and
like a year or so ago.
I think even after we got out of the Instapot, we had tons of seasonings in there. We doused the thing of barbecue, and it was still like edible. It was rough.
It was really tough for some reason.
But then the last one you made was amazing. So
yeah, the last one was really good.
But yeah, those have been sitting for a while.
Yeah. So Mo says, still looking and waiting for husband to heal. Keep praying for us. We will. Yeah. That is so stressful. I hope you find something soon. It just sucks being in limbo because it's like you're waiting for. I mean, you can't get anything rolling without a nice permanent place.
The market seems like it's opened up. I've seen some things out there for sale that have popped up on the market where before it was like things were getting bought before they even made the market. Like word of mouth was basically leading sales.
Yeah, it really,
which was
really
crazy.
was.
So fingers crossed. Be praying for you.
Don says I would still be vlogging on iPhone if I hadn't been contracted to film for HOA. They're nice. Like sometimes and I know I think I've read this somewhere, but like filming with the DJI Osmo, I have found like the color saturation.
I will say
he's not good.
He killed it with his filming for HOA.
Kill it.
Watching those clips.
No autofocus. You can tell I'm kind of wanting to upgrade from a DJI Osmo. I'm like, no autofocus. It doesn't focus on anything like in the foreground. It's not
voice
saturated.
Commands can be finicky.
I won't say anything, and they'll just start filming, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Nobody. I'm like talking to Ashley, and like it's supposed to be off, and then I kick on, and I'm like, turn around, I'm like,
"What do you want to kick on?" And I'm like, "Have you been talking to Alexa? Are you just gonna start passively listening to us too?"
Yeah.
Sorry, that was that's my conspiracy.
What private conversations between me and my wife? All right, Emma said phones are so underrated. You can do so much with them these days. They really have become a tool across the board for.
That's I think my pet peeve, like on the forums for YouTube, like it on Facebook, which they're like, I want to upgrade. I'm like, iPhones are good, guys.
Yeah.
It is so nice. Most of the time when a lot of the good stuff that I get that's in the moment is because I have my phone on me and I can whip it up and start. That sounded awful. I can bring it up and I can just start filming right then and there. I don't have to sit there and be like, I need to go in and get my DJI Osmo, and I need to be able to,
because Truth on the Homestead, things just pop up.
Happen.
I know. Spur of a moment.
Things start to happen when you don't expect them to happen, and the phone is so good for that. 100%.
Michelle said, my daughter buys her eggs from the grocery store. She says it's too weird to eat eggs your chickens lay. They have names and you pick them up and pet them. They are cute and lay brown eggs. Yuck.
Oh,
well,
but it's like their gift.
Eggs,
I'm like, oh, thanks. I will keep petting you if you keep giving me eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people, it's just like a mental barrier. It's just a mental barrier. Yeah, we've had those too.
Yeah, that's one of ours is a meat goat. We bought a meat goat, supposedly, I mean, it was the weather. We bought specifically the butcher. Never did. So something we're trying to break.
It's going to happen this year, and it's probably it could possibly happen maybe even this weekend. I don't know, because he's not growing out as quickly as I would like him to, and I'm like, I'm not going to put in more feed if you're not going to grow any quicker.
But speaking of eggs, we've got a batch in an incubator right now.
I'm incubating eggs, lavender Orpingtons. My sister-in-law has the prettiest lavender Orpingtons.
Seeing them, honestly, won us over.
They were so beautiful, and they're so big, and their personalities are so sweet that I'm like, can you please give me a dozen hatching eggs? So we've got those in right now. Super excited.
Dual-purpose breed, like Ashley said, big enough definitely for plenty of meat, but they've been good egg layers for too.
Yes, 100%.
For sure.
So Joe Mama says, gotta run, guys. Nice to see you tonight. Keep Scott in your prayers, and me also. Caregiving 24/7 can be drained. We are praying so hard for both you and Scott. We are so happy you were here. Love you, and we can't wait to talk to you again next week. Yeah.
Ashley honest on the canning.
You do. Make sure you keep me honest. Get mean with me if you have to.
Fairview Family Farm said, just pop in and say hello. It was another 4-H night.
I know how that goes.
Yeah,
we have one on Monday.
And then another one next Monday.
I had one last Wednesday? It was Wednesday before was volunteer training.
Yeah.
Everything which could have been done in an email.
Gotta love
Not that I was hateful about it or anything, but I'm like, you could have sent all this in an email and it would have been more time and cost effective. Yeah, but that's okay.
For sure. But yeah, we have another one Monday night coming up.
We do, and it's a demonstration night for us. So
be working on some extras.
We get to talk about the failures on the farm, beekeeping. My big failure so far right now, but it's okay.
Crazy Life said, I see things for sale, but the loan approval got dropped when you broke the leg. We are thinking now gas prices are up. Yeah.
Heavy machinery, diesel fuel prices will slow down the cutting of roads so we can stay put for a few more. Okay, good. I'm glad that's at least playing like in your favor, but I really hope that something comes up that you guys just fall in love with, that it's meant to be. I mean, that just so sucks, like being on hold, because you guys have been on like in limbo for a while. So I really hope you find something soon. I can't even imagine how stressed you must be.
Michelle said, I've so enjoyed getting to know you all. You and your friends are so nice. I'll be back again. Hope you and all the homesteaders and families in my prayers, or keep you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for your kindness. Good night. Yep. It's so good having you.
Thanks so much for having you. Thanks for being here with us. We really enjoyed getting to talk to you too. Good luck with your bird problem. I hope you get it fixed.
For sure. Yeah. I know one thing Ashley brought up a little bit earlier, I was wanting to circle back to, was we spoke with an accountant yesterday, and honestly, to do our taxes first and foremost, but also talking about the advantages of possibly putting the farm in an LLC, because we're looking at selling some goods and possibly having profits back from that, but at the same point, liability protection and even expenses, how to leverage them against what we're bringing in.
It made me kind of feel stupid. Not the accountant, but just like, why haven't I tried to sort this out earlier? The accountant we found,
I think, is the right guy.
Oh, he's great, and he's local, but it was kind of funny because I guess I can tell you guys this. I mean, I've moved over to Newsbreak, and I'm making some money on Newsbreak, but I don't know how that's going to affect the farm. And for me, I'm like, well, if this turns into something substantial, and if I ever get monetized on YouTube, which we are very, very, very close, very close, that I would like to be able to keep that aside, and I need to start thinking about how to do depreciation on things that we have here. And when he was talking to us about livestock, he's like, so you guys have goats. He's like, so your buck. He's like, buck is an equipment because the buck provides a service. He's like, your kid crop turns into an inventory, which then can turn into equipment if you decide to retain a kid.
Yeah.
He's like, and they will depreciate over time as well. And he's like, and maybe tax exemptions would be good, because if you're the end user, then you need to pay the tax. He's like, but if you're not the end user, then those are tax exemptable. Yeah. Which I'm like, well, most of the goats that we're raising, we sell the kids. So the food that goes into the bucks to create the service with the does to create the kids that are being sold, we're looking into like tax exemptions and things like that too, just to kind of, inflation's on the rise, gas prices are going up. And I'm like, we might really want to start thinking on how to be as efficient and to actually know what is coming in and what is going out.
That's funny though, because like he came in and he's like, oh, you have a YouTube channel. He's like, I got a guy in the area I do, and it's been lucrative for me. He made like almost $200,000.
Yeah, he's like around 170K. I'm like, yeah, we're nowhere near that. Yeah, we're not making even
anything from YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is not paying me anything. But it was just kind of funny. He's like, then I've got a Twitch, I've got a Twitcher. He's like, I've got a Facebook page person who makes tons of money off of Facebook. He's like, and I have 2 OnlyFans. Yeah. I was like, whoa, you've got a repertoire going on there with,
not ready to go to that point.
It's kind of crazy though, because like we're out in the middle of nowhere. We're in Podunk, USA, Indiana. So he's going off like all of these things, and I'm like, what? I'm like, there's another YouTuber nearby that makes like 170K. Shut up.
Mud feet.
Mark's trying to get me on OnlyFans to stomp in mud barefooted. He's so gross. Nasty.
But yeah, it was just broke it down to where a point where we felt comfortable. It's honestly, his wife is also a lawyer, which helps a ton, so he can help.
So she knows like the LLC side.
Yeah, she knows.
So that's something we're going to talk about. Because like I want to do goat yoga, and like I said, I want to have people come out to do chicken processing.
On the goat yoga though was, so the receptionist is getting us all signed in, and apparently he's been turning away people. So we were fortunate.
Yeah, we were happy he took us
because it's a small town local account that has very high recommendations. And the receptionist, we were talking a little bit about like our farm and things, and she's like, goat yoga, maybe something like that. Where she's like, oh well, I'm a fitness coach. And we have someone in our gym that does yoga with goats. Yeah. We're like, are you serious?
I'm like, well, how much are you paying them?
How good do you know yoga? Because we can get the goats.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to have baby goats. So I do worry about biosecurity issues.
Goats. We can do it.
But Mark made a good Lord, dog. I don't know. But he made a good point, because I'm like, well, I don't know how I can be able to keep my biosecurity closed for my herd, to keep them safe. He's like, do you really think the people that are coming to do goat yoga live on a farm and have walked on land of a farm that has goats? I'm like, you are making an assumption, but
if you love goats enough to be one to do yoga.
If I wanted to do goat yoga, I just go out my own freaking field and do it.
A food bucket out there, it becomes goat yoga. So they start climbing you.
It becomes goat mosh pit.
Climb you like a coon hound after a coon up in a tree.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
So Emma says, just got into Newsbreak a few weeks ago, but haven't uploaded. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. It's been good. Might pick your brain. I don't know how helpful. I'm still trying to figure out like how they pick up certain videos. She's
also looking into is Rumble.
I don't know anything about Rumble. I've got some videos out there, but I don't know how to be effective on it.
Crazy Life asks, are you farm exempt? No. And
that's but every time we go somewhere, like Tractor Supplier or like our feed guy, he's like, are you farm exempt yet? Are you tax exempt? And I know, like, if they're asking, I'm like, this means that we're buying in bulk enough where we probably should be, I know there are certain parameters in every state, but we're going to definitely be looking into that.
Emma, mud stomping.
I know.
Which makes
so
me think, because I think Emma introduced us to it, which was mukbang. So what happens if we came up with mudbang? And it would be like,
that sounds disgusting. Like, that sounds so wrong. Like, I'm not going to put up any video that says mudbang in it.
Instant viral sensation.
Correct, you should be. It can't hurt. Exactly. And I think about how long we've been doing this, like 10 plus years. And I'm like, we should have been doing this the whole time. Like, that's where I kick myself in the foot, where I'm like, or in the butt, because I'm like, why wasn't I motivated enough?
Hesitant because of the fear of the unknown in that retrospect. Because I mean, it's like, okay, now what?
We're very conservative and not big risk takers, like for things at all.
Very much.
And when you bring people onto your property, or you start to like try to get away with not paying taxes, I'm like, I don't need the IRS like knocking on my door and be like, give me all your receipts,
Yeah.
I don't want someone coming out here to do goat yoga, trips on gravel on the road and hurts themselves and then sues me for everything that I've got because they didn't know how to pick up their feet when they walked.
Yeah.
I mean, I really worry about that stuff because there are people that are crazy enough nowadays. that
most
happen.
people going to go do goat yoga are not close to farms. That's what.
And we do have a bougie college community not far from us where I'm like, those kids would pay to come do yoga with baby goats. I'm like, I know that they would. So
yep.
I know mommy and daddy are paying them fat checks.
Any of the poses though.
Downward facing dog.
I do downward facing dog. I'm just staying.
Is there upward facing dog and then cobra and then there's crane, crunchy frog. Yeah. I remember crunchy frog because you tried to do crunchy frog. Warrior pose 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I know some of them.
Yeah, we did do P90X for almost the whole session, but
yeah, we got really close.
I will say, yoga is intense.
He tried to do the crunchy frog, and he's like, I couldn't. I couldn't hold the pose.
I'm pretty vocal
because he was just making the weirdest noises. I'm like, please stop.
Yeah,
it was a good workout though.
So.
Bye, Dees.
Yep. Good to have you tonight.
Crazy
life. They were talking about up here. You have to have 5 years to make the profit for the business.
Yeah. See, and I think that's what worries me. I'm like, what if I totally flop? Like, what if we never make it? And then I'm like, what are repercussions there? Like, what happens then? You know?
Yeah. That's the biggest fear. It's just getting into a hole we can't get back out of.
Yeah.
You know, because we're happy with the farm.
It's really hard to be positioned where we're at
don't want to put
right
us in
now
a pinch
in life and financially. So it's not something I'm willing to take a risk on, but also kind of.
Crazy Life said, well, think about LLC and a division of so they can't sue you.
Yeah.
He brought up a lot of valid points to that. Mm-hmm. At a high level, he did say, hey, I'm not the lawyer or law expert. My wife is. I don't play one on TV, but he's like, here's some things to think about. Yeah.
He was a funny guy.
And then in the conference room, he had a bunch of historical stuff around
for the county.
The county is a big historical collector of things. And he had a gun on the wall. So I was like, yep.
Mark automatic. He's like, we came to the right place. So, well, I mean, if that's all it takes for you to feel like you're in the right place, then we're in the right place.
Yeah, you don't see that too often in too many offices anymore.
Yeah. Mudbang, you'll get monetized. I don't know if that's how I want to get monetized.
I'm with Emma's thoughts. I think it'll monetize quick.
How do you work at Liberty Bibberty and not have an umbrella policy? I know.
Yeah.
I know.
We do have high limits on everything else.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although the employee discount is not a big employee discount. Liberty
they're like, oh, we'll give you a good discount. I'm like, you can't beat any of the other
in line
places.
with some of the lower tier costs, but we do get a lot broader coverages.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's a mix and match.
She's like, yo, the power yoga and P90X is legit, but also not typical for most yoga. Okay. It was like an hour and a half. Everything else is like 45 to 50 minutes with like a 10 to 15 minute cool down. And when we put it in, I'm like, is this ever going to end? It was 90 minutes long. I'm like, why? This is so tough.
Yeah, and there's a lot of poses you have to hold for a while. That those muscles are strained. Those muscles are shaking by the end of it because you're like, man, this is a hard pose to hold.
Plyometrics was the other one that I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like where it was lots of like lunges and stuff where I'm like, the next day I couldn't sit down on the toilet. I went to work and I'm like, I'm legitimately going to have to just trust fall back onto the toilet. I don't fall off. And then I have to go in the handicap one so that I have a rail to pull myself back up. Plyometrics were no joke. But like the punching one at the Saturday one, that one was great. I really missed that. We should go back.
Emma said, we actually have homeowners with Liberty, so in a way, I'm paying for your salary. Thank you, Emma. Although you're probably paying for the emu. I actually watched a little documentary. It came up on the homepage about the emu and the caretaking for it. It was pretty interesting. Yeah. I could hear it from while she was watching it.
Well, I was listening to White House on the Hills video about why they don't think they're going to be having emu eggs anytime soon. And they were talking about Limu. And he's like, well, I don't know if Limu has like a girlfriend, and Becky's like, yeah, Mrs. Limu. She's in
She
the
has those,
commercials.
like, little
Glasses and like a little wig. I just was like, Mark, you're talking about Liberty.
There it is. Emma said, "Girl, plyometrics suck."
They did suck. I was like, this is intense. And then nobody understands when you go to work and you're walking around and you're like,
because you think like plyometrics and yoga are like the cooler. They call them
they're
cool
not
down,
tough, but
and
they're
they're easier.
like death.
But I mean, honestly, I think those were harder than like the muscle building ones.
Yeah, like the core
legs,
stuff. Give me the core all day long.
all
Give me
the-
the arms all day
all
long.
the stomach stuff at the end of each session. They squeezed in like the last 15-20 minutes. You do the ab stuff.
Oh
that
yeah,
was pretty rough.
that was pretty intense.
Yeah,
and it is like you're trying to keep up with them, and you're like, dude, I don't got a beach body. I can't do it.
70 pull-ups in like 60 seconds. You're like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
I'm like finger like barely holding on.
Sonic the Hedgehog back there, like just.
Oh, use a stool to help you. I'm like using the stool to stand up on and hold my head
the
above.
workout so that it doesn't hurt you. I'm like, I mean, don't do the workout.
Or to begin, so I got to run. Nice talking with you all. I think we're probably going to wrap up.
Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap up. We got to take out trash.
I'm so glad we got to meet with everybody and see them again.
We missed you guys.
Everyone.
We will be here next Wednesday, unless for some reason I'm outside kidding. And then in which case, like, I would really like to take you guys on a live kidding. Like, which means I won't interact with you a lot, probably, because, like, I'll be interacting with the goat.
Do the camera and read off the questions or comments.
Yeah, I would
I'll
really
read
like
off
to do
their
that.
words of encouragement.
I kept saying I was going to do that last year.
Go, Ashley, pull that kid.
My worst fear is that you guys are going to come for a live kidding where it goes so sideways. I'm going to have to be like, I've got to go. I'm sorry.
Could happen. I mean, that's realistically how things could go, though.
It does. It goes from like textbook to just like immediate emergency, like that. It's insane. It's crazy. Yeah.
Emma said, we'll be lucky just to get some walks in because of this weather. I don't think my body can handle P90X anymore.
I wish they could.
Here.
Maybe like lightly.
Crazy.
Maybe if they make like P90X for like the elderly, because I might be able to keep up with that.
I actually do Farm 90X, and that keeps me up enough.
Get the gun.
There we go, Emma. Farm 90X. Crazy Life said, hit the thumbs up.
Thank you. Tag team it. That's what we will be doing. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with us. We have missed you. We will see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, we hope that you are all staying safe out there and being kind to one another. And we will catch you in the next one.
God bless.